r/NoSleep. Posted by u/Germany888. The Whispers in Room 731. I never should have taken the job at the old Oakwood Sanitarium. The pay was good, sure, but no amount of money is worth what I experienced during those 3 horrifying nights as a security guard. The decaying building loomed over me as I approached for my first shift, its Victorian architecture a stark contrast to the modern city that had grown around it. The sanitarium had been closed for decades, but a local historical society was working to restore it as a museum. That's why they needed someone to keep an eye on things at night. The moment I stepped inside, a chill ran down my spine. The air was thick with dust and the unmistakable scent of decay. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing peeling wallpaper and abandoned medical equipment. I tried to shake off the eerie feeling as I began my rounds, telling myself it was just an old building, nothing more. The first few hours were uneventful. I patrolled the corridors, checked the locks, and tried to ignore the creaks and groans of the settling structure. It wasn't until around 2 a.m. that things took a turn for the bizarre. I was on the 3rd floor when I heard it, a faint whisper coming from one of the rooms. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but as I approached room 731, the whispers grew louder. I stood frozen outside the door, my hand hovering over the knob. The whispers were clearer now, a jumble of voices speaking in hushed, urgent tones. I couldn't make out the words, but the desperation in their tone was unmistakable. Against my better judgment, I pushed the door open. The room was empty, save for a rusted bed frame and a cracked mirror on the far wall. The whispers stopped abruptly as I entered, leaving an oppressive silence in their wake. My flashlight beam trembled as I swept it across the room, searching for any sign of the source. That's when I saw it, a flicker of movement in the mirror. I spun around, but there was nothing behind me. When I looked back at the mirror, I saw dozens of faces pressed against the glass, their mouths moving silently, eyes wide with terror. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding in my chest. As I watched, horrified, a hand emerged from the mirror's surface, reaching out towards me. I ran. I ran faster than I ever had in my life, tearing through the hallways and down the stairs. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping for breath in the cool night air. I called my supervisor and quit on the spot, making up some excuse about a family emergency. I couldn't bring myself to tell him the truth, who would believe me? But that wasn't the end of it. Over the next few days, I started seeing things out of the corner of my eye, shadowy figures that disappeared when I turned to look. And at night, I could hear the whispers, even in my own home. They were calling to me, begging for help. I tried to ignore it, to convince myself it was just stress or lack of sleep. But the whispers grew louder, more insistent. I found myself drawn back to the sanitarium, standing outside and staring up at the window of room 731. I knew I had to go back, to face whatever was in that mirror. Maybe then the whispers would stop. As I write this, I'm preparing to return to Oakwood Sanitarium. I don't know what I'll find there, or if I leave and make it out. But if you're reading this, and I haven't been heard from in a while, please, whatever you do, stay away from room 731. And if you hear whispers calling out to you in the night, for God's sake, don't listen. Next story of this video. Posted by u/Germany888. The Inheritance of Silence. I never wanted my great-aunt Agatha's house. The place always gave me the creeps as a kid, with its peeling Victorian wallpaper and rooms that seemed to whisper. But here I was, key in hand, the sole inheritor of a house that had been in our family for generations. The lawyer handed me an envelope along with the key. "Your aunt's final instructions," he said. "To be opened only once you've spent a night in the house." That first night, I tossed and turned in Agatha's old 4-poster bed. The house creaked and settled around me, each sound making me jump. But it wasn't until 3:17 a.m. that the real strangeness began. A low hum filled the air, barely audible at first. It grew louder, resolving into what sounded like dozens of voices murmuring just below the threshold of comprehension. I stumbled out of bed, following the sound to the attic. The voices stopped the moment I opened the attic door. In the moonlight streaming through the dusty window, I saw rows and rows of old tape recorders, their reels slowly turning. Heart pounding, I pressed play on the nearest one. A child's voice emerged, May 12, 1954. "I'm scared. The shadows are moving again. Mom says it's just my imagination, but I know what I saw. They're getting closer every night." I tried another, September 3, 1972. "It's been a week since Dad disappeared. The police think he left us, but I heard him screaming in the walls last night." Tape after tape, year after year, all from different people, all describing terrifying events in this house. The final tape was dated just a week before Aunt Agatha died. They're coming for me tonight. I've held them off for so long, but I'm tired. Remember the rules, dear. Never listen to more than one tape per night. Never play them after midnight. And never, ever try to record over them. Shaken, I retreated to my room. In the morning, I opened Aunt Agatha's envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. The house must always have a keeper. The tapes must always be played. I'm sorry. Over the next weeks, I listened to one tape each night, as instructed. The stories were horrifying, detailing supernatural encounters, disappearances, and inexplicable phenomena. But nothing happened to me. The house remained quiet. Until the night I fell asleep before I could play a tape. I woke to the sound of static. Every electronic device in the house was on, emitting white noise. And in that static, I heard voices, the same voices from the tapes, all screaming for help. The walls began to ripple. Dark shapes pressed against the wallpaper, trying to push through. I ran to the attic and grabbed a random tape, fumbling to play it. The moment the tape started, everything went silent. The shapes retreated. The house was still once more. I've been here for months now. I know I can never leave. Each night, I play a tape, holding back whatever horrors are trying to break through. But there are only so many tapes, and I'm running out. I've started recording my own experiences, adding to the archive. If you're reading this, it means the house has passed to you. I'm sorry. Remember the rules. Keep the tapes playing. And whatever you do, don't let the silence in.